Okay, so who else came?
Tomas and Rahmani are here.
Welcome, dears, Tomas and Rahmani.
Thank you.
And who else is here?
Aloha.
Oh, Padam Dion is here.
Yes.
Welcome, dear. Huh?
It's all here.
Who was the last one? Hello? I didn't hear you very well. Well, welcome, anyway. Welcome. Who else is here? Anyone else? Hello? Hello? Who's here?
This is Lucinda.
Oh, hi, Lucinda. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Are you healing?
I'm in the process of healing, yes.
Good, good. Good to have you with us, dear. And who else is here?
Narayan Jot Kaur in Anchorage.
Narayan Joe. Welcome, dear.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So, are you friends with Harimander?
Yes.
Uh-huh. She's quite a gathering person, isn't she?
She is.
Good. Well, welcome. And who else
you.
is here?
Hargobind.
Hi, Hargobind. How are you?
Siri Gian, I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, good, good.
Awesome.
It is so bright here in New Mexico. We have some big fluffy clouds. It's amazing, and the leaves are still coming out. Can you believe it? I was in California for 2 months, and it was lush vegetation. And then I left, and I thought, oh, look it, the rest of the world is coming into spring. I guess you have the same situation in Florida, right, Hargobind?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful here. The weather's been perfect, and we just had a whole bunch of rain, so it's great.
Oh, good, good.
Hope you get some...
Now,
yes.
I just wanted to say that Harimander forwarded to me at my request a letter that she has written up for people who have not yet been on the phone call, so they, especially if they would be new to the mantras, the Om Namo and the Adgade Nama, and just a very clear write-up for people that might be interested. And I recommend that we request her to maybe send it to you or post it on the Facebook page or make it available to anyone who would like it, because it really is a lovely welcoming for newbies.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, can you send it along to me?
I'll check. I'll get her permission, and then I'll do that.
Okay, that'll be good. And then I can put it on our page, on our Teletalk page.
You have my permission.
Oh,
there's Harimander?
Yeah.
Hi, dear.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, send it over to me, and I will put it on our Teletalk page.
Do you want to do it, Harimander?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks. So who else is here?
Suzanne.
Suzanne. Welcome, Suzanne.
Hi
When's
there.
the wedding?
We leave next Tuesday. So it is on the 23rd. We're going early to get set up.
Oh, okay. So you still have a few weeks, huh?
We still
Couple
have
of weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Is
it's
your
like
dress
dragging
finished?
on forever. Huh?
Is your dress finished?
Mine is finished, and hers is. I'm finishing hers today, like with little details, hemming details.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
And who else is here?
Guru Atma.
Hi, Guru Atma. How are you?
Good.
Good, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're with us, dear.
Thank you.
And who else is here?
Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm a longtime friend of Susan.
Huddy Munder, amazing. Huddy Munder has brought the whole group today. Well, the big part. Welcome, dear.
Thank you.
Welcome. And who else is here?
Now I'm at Nora in Juneau.
Another of the Hari Munder crew. Welcome, Nora. Glad to have you. And who else is here?
Purenbeer.
Say your name again, please.
It's Purenbeer.
Purenbeer. Welcome, dear. Where are you from?
I'm in Phoenix.
Oh, good. Glad to have you. Our
Thank
sister
you.
state from New Mexico.
Yes.
Mhm. And who else is here? Nobody else? Well, then let's get started. Okay, so please sit straight. Excuse me. And we're going to tune in. And is there anybody who has never tuned in with a mantra? With
yes.
the Om Namo? Huh?
Yes.
Okay, who is this?
Ellen. It's Ellen.
Oh, Ellen. Okay. So the mantra is Om Namo, which means, excuse me, I salute, I name, I bow to the total infinite as it relates to Earth. And Guru Dev Namo means that I salute, I become one with, I am humbled to that which separates the dark from the light. Okay, so the words are Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. And then after that we'll do a protection mantra. Okay, so please, everybody sit straight, palms together. And begin long, deep breath. That is breathing from the belly through the nose. Very slow, very deep. Good, and relax in it. Relax. Good, and inhale to begin. And long deep breath. Good. Keep up the long deep breath. And now on the exhale, feel as though the breath is coming out of your heart center. Okay. While you do that, I have to let you know that something's happening in somebody's background. Things are banging around, and we can hear. Keep up the heart breath, please. Good. Let your heart open. This is heart breath. Good. And now please direct this beautiful heart breath to each one who is on the call or who will ever be listening to the call. Time is irrelevant here. Keep up this beautiful heart breath. Good. And continue opening. And please send your beautiful heart breath. Baba Siri Chand calls it the lifelong fun for missing children, lost children. Keep it up. Let this light really permeate that darkness. This light from your own heart breath. And of course, this is a worldwide problem. Good. Now inhale. And exhale. And breathe and being totally present. Totally present. Well, he's asking you to keep up the heart breath. He says he's producing a few more rounds. Sir, what are these rounds? He says they are waves of energy, and he would like you please to keep up with your heart breath. And they are being moved, on the current of our joined heart breath. He says, while you do that, please loosen your own heart, your own fears, your own awareness, and your own awakenings. Please continue to open. Good. He says, and now continue your heart breath. He says, and now I have a few words for you. He says the words are to be straight and to be kind. He says, even those people that you call your enemies, you must be straight and you must be kind. He says, otherwise you fall in the very black pit of snakes of emotion, of unkindness within yourself. And you must not do that. He says, you are climbing the ladder of purification. Therefore, how can you separate yourself out and say, well, I don't like that person. That person is mean and nasty to me. Look at what that person has done. He says, all the saints and sages of history have done this. All the people that you call martyrs, he says the true martyrs, not the ones who engaged in it for the sake of, he calls it for fame or for altered consciousness or whatever. But all the saints and sages, through time, have gotten to a place of absolute and pure neutrality regarding the people who hurt them, who killed them, who enslaved them, and so on. He says if you don't do that, you will enslave yourself. Mercilessly, he says, you will enslave yourself. So, keep up the breath. And he's also talking about those who have a vengeance, those who are, he says, those who are paltry, and those who are those who steal your wealth, those who steal your name, those who hurt you. He says this is not just the personal ones, but also the ones who operate on a very large scale, even those on the international scale. He says you must be in he calls it an international neutral situation with all. He says that does not mean you accept and take on their nuttiness. You do not accept their darkness. He says, but you stay in a totally neutral situation with them. He says, when you stay in that totally neutral situation, it doesn't mean that you accept all the crap that they give. No. He says there are boundaries. He says we have talked about boundaries before. He says, but check with me. Check with Guru Ramdas. Check with your very soul about what the boundaries should be. The boundaries should not be based in fear. No. He says if you jump into fear, then you lose it. You lose your power. He says you jump into their own negative degradation. He says your commitment to your very own soul makes this possible. He says, yes, there is every aspect of what you might call good and bad in the universe. But in fact, dear ones, there is only one God. Oh my God, can you believe it? He says, and all this hurt, all this malignment, and all of this smashing, also all of the goodness, the grace, the support, the kindness. He says it all comes from one source. He says, have you accepted that? He says there is no way you can accept it when you live in judgment, when you live in fear, when you live in the need to separate yourself. He's not asking you to throw all caution to the winds and to move out into the storm unprotected. He's not doing that. But he is saying, take a truthful look at the whole universe. It is a play. It is a play and an evolution of what you call light and dark. He says there is only one source of this evolution, and you know what that is. That is your own divine soul. He says, now here's a shocker. You share that same soul. You are everyone is sourced in that same soul, that same Godhead. And each one projects as you. each one projects as the crummy guy. Each one projects the goodness. And also, on a spiritual path, we strive to become conscious. In other words, to allow the light to envelop and permeate the darkness within each one individually. He says, can you see your way through? He says, I'm talking about on the mightiest level, which is the most interior level, and it is the level of all. He says, we're talking about two different levels here, so don't get confused. He says, we're talking about the level of the earth and finite interaction, which includes awareness, wisdom, boundaries, but not from anger and not from fear, but from pure realization of wisdom. Yes, pure realization of wisdom. He says, now, on the other hand, he says you come at this with a very real knowledge that no one can, quote, get you. Sir, what does that mean, get you? He says no one can actually destroy you because you are the projection of the Godhead. And that will never disappear. He says even if this body disappears, you as a projection of the Godhead will never disappear. He says you might find that it increases in its awareness and its completion as the totality as you move along and expanding your consciousness. But as you do that, as you move along and expanding your consciousness, you understand that this great, pure, infinite pearl of consciousness is what projects each one. So how can you judge the others? All you can say is, what a weird game the consciousness is playing. Do you see? If you want to judge, that's what you judge. You judge the pure consciousness, the playwright behind all. And then more than that, you project this consciousness to those who appear to be having difficulty. And certainly, anyone who is masquerading as darkness, for instance, a slanderer, a thief, killer, they are all masquerading as darkness. He says, then is your opportunity to project this light that you feel when you do your heart breath, when you do your meditation, when you do your chanting, when you truly relax in Mother Nature. He says, this is your reality. He says, sorry, my dear ones, there is no satisfaction anymore in turning over in your mind, oh, he did that to me, oh, that's terrible, oh, I am suffering because of. So he is asking us to make the monumental leap from suffering, from judging, to pure knowing, to pure neutrality, so we may operate from the center point of the consciousness, so that we may more and more, with practice, realize ourselves as, he calls it, as the game player, which is the infinite consciousness. You see, as projections of the infinite consciousness, we have taken on, I'm going to call it our everyday self, we have taken on, how can I say, the theme or the costume of not knowing, or belief that we don't know. which gives us the trial, the ladder, to come back, to return to pure consciousness over lifetimes, or what we perceive as lifetimes. He says, so don't get discouraged. He says it's just the way creation is. That's how it operates. And he says, this is the next leap in consciousness. He says, if you reside in non-forgiving, if you reside in judging, on the one hand, and on the other hand, you say that you're on the path to light, he said you're fooling yourself. Nobody wants to be fooled. So why would you engage in fooling yourself? You may feel that you are at the mercy of the karmic forces because you feel beat down by the karmic forces, by the apparent accidents, by the apparent difficulties that are thrown your way. He says if you stay in that consciousness, you stay in the victim consciousness, which only calls more of itself to itself. In other words, victim consciousness is a self-perpetuating cycle. He says, so perhaps it would be good if you absolutely, deeply forgave the infinite consciousness for throwing crap your way. He said, would you like to do that now? He says, no blame, just deeply, meditatively forgive the infinite consciousness for making your life hard. He says, such a simple thing. Make it part of your routine. Use heart breath. Deeply forgive. This is not from the mind that says, oh, no, everything's okay, I'm just going to gloss over this. No. Deeply. You're not suppressing. You are untangling, letting go the cords that keep you tied to poopiness, to self-blame, to exterior blame. Keep up the breath. He says, now you can keep that up as you also forgive yourself. Yourself in your most primal, finite self as combined with your infinite self. Forgive yourself for accepting this role of coming into the land of not knowing and climbing the ladder of evolution to come back into full knowledge of who you are. You, the infinite consciousness, who has jumped into playing this game of life and death. That's all it is. But it is everything. Keep up. Keep up the discovery. Keep up the knowing, the knowledge. Forgiving yourself for jumping into this game. And then blaming the infinite, blaming those around you, blaming the karma. He said, why worry about it? Go into the neutrality and understand that this is the course that you, as your soul, have elected. And you have elected it for your own gain. Oh my God, You have elected it for your own gain. Keep up the breath. And that gain is to act as an impetus, reminder. How can I say? Like a riding crop, where the jockey hits or taps the horse to make them go faster to win the race. It is given to you to throw you into the turmoil of breaking through the unconsciousness and surrendering to the knowledge that you are a vessel of the infinite. That's all it is about. For your own particular pathway to move you into your knowledge of yourself as the infinite, as you let go, as you dissolve the finite shell of consciousness. That's it. As you do this over and over again, you continue to open up, to use all of the experiences over lifetimes to become this oneness, to realize yourself as this oneness. You have been this oneness all along. He says, again, I will refer to our first session, our first gathering, where everyone was invited to come to the round table, to the council table of the infinite being, of all of those you respect as guides, all of those that you know carry the highest vibration, those that you call ascended masters, saints, sages, angels. He says, because you are equals with us. The point is that you have this superficial covering that you are transforming through so that you may know yourself, you may know what you call others as this one beautiful transformative being. He says, keep up the breath. Realize yourself as that. He says, can you allow yourself the coziness, the light, the transformation? He said, this is not a process that will break you. He says, let me put it another way. As you break the hold of your finite realization and incarnation, as you break that hold by forgiving, by the heart breath, by all of your mantras, your meditations, your kriyas, you're giving over of all of your conundrums and hurts to the infinite, to your own soul, to the great gods and guides. As you do this work, then you find yourself in totally expansive coziness. You find yourself in totally expansive coziness. He says, so there is really no need to fear. He says the thing that hops up and makes you fearful is, as I break this code of the finite, who would I be? I would not be myself. My identity would change. And that is fearful. He says, so it is surrender. Surrender of your finite identity, bit by bit, to allow the experience of a total cozy expansiveness as your identity. He says to tell you what Yogi Bhajan always said. Yogi Bhajan always said that the spiritual path is a change of identity. And that's what we're talking about here. It takes great permission on your part to let go that hold of who I am. In other words, I am a person of righteousness and of goodness. And the people who don't think like me, who are not peaceful, those people who are poopy heads, they're terrible. He says, are you willing to give up that identity and simply be with a recognition that there is nothing in creation that is outside of this infinite projection? Are you willing to do that? He says in your meditation, you might take a little time to talk to yourself. Are you willing to do that? He says, now understand, again, that as you open up to this brilliant, cozy infinity, that you are not becoming a pushover. He says this has happened in religions over and over again. They feel that to love everyone means that they become a pushover and they become a victim of anyone who wants to mow them down. No. You come from the infinite wisdom and power when you do this. He says, for instance, let's take a little look at Guru Gobind Singh. As you remember, Guru Gobind Singh, he lived in the 16 and 1700s. He says the armies of the day were killing anyone who would not convert to their religion. So Guru Gobind Singh took up the army his tiny little army, to defend against that, to defend for free will. He says, but he was in his impeccable wisdom in this course of defense. He was in his absolute love. When I say love, he says, it is not this kind of, whoa, I'm jumping through the tulips kind of love. It is a very grounded, very present experience of expansion. Do you see? Expansion without judgment, but with the knowledge that boundaries must persist, boundaries that protect righteousness, the righteousness of the infinite. No matter what. No matter if his whole tiny little army was going to be killed, which pretty much happened. He said, but that way, at least righteousness was preserved within the vibrational context or the Akashic records of this culture. Do you see? And many of us have come back from that army to continue this, to continue the next steps. Keep up the breath. So they fought. They fought willingly. They fought more than bravely. They put their whole heart into their soul. As they fought. And the stories abound of their courageousness. Their absolute non-fear and their fierceness. But they were coming from their heart, their soul, their true connection or flow from infinity, with infinity. And that is the reality. So you see, when you're in your soul, whatever is appropriate comes up. It may be fierceness, it may be fighting, but it comes from your soul and not from your mind. It comes from the infinite wisdom. And you can gauge that with the experience that you feel. If your mind is burdened, you know it is that it is not coming from your soul. You give all over to your soul, to the infinity, with which you have an absolutely personal relationship. And you move from that in ways that are so appropriate that at times our mind has no clue how appropriate it is. That's the wonder, that's the belief, that's the abstract knowing that comes into the finite awareness. That's true wisdom. Keep up the breath. He says, you are precious. You are precious. And if any time you have any self-doubt that says that you are less than precious, he says, you know to forgive it. And you know how to deeply forgive it now. Okay? Deeply forgive. Deeply know. And deeply accept your cozy infinity. That's who you are. And may you ever, ever know this blessing. He says, now I want to hear from you warriors of consciousness. I want to hear what you have understood, what you have experienced. He says the energy flow has been here. The energy flow of transformation, if you have taken advantage of it, if you have flown with it. He says, and the realization of the mind and the heart of who you are and the course of realizing that. He says, please speak now. It means incredible lot to all who hear. Yes, Tomas.
I have a poem I'd like to read.
Oh, please do, Tomas.
It's called Global Unprotected Social Intercourse.
Well, okay, go ahead.
I feel the fortress of fear must disappear, and lovers of undying truth need to lead real discourses which help to create peaceful evolution of the human species. We who feast today could share from our varied wellsprings and sing and smile while under perceived duress. We could address the issues we would most like to avoid and leave light where opaque vagueness had stood. We need to have global unprotected social intercourse and select everyone as worthy who chooses to diserect their edifice of worry and self-deceit. It is safe to let collective tension and pretension dissolve from our brains and to resolve the seemingly unsolvable cyst-like war-torn history. Good fortune is ours for the asking, and forlorn delusions of despair are never everlasting. A careful steward is seldom careless, and we can dwell in precious equilibrium with every breath we liberate during our stays on this earth.
Wonderful. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, again.
Yes?
This is Rahmani. I just wanted to share that when we started by sending heart breath to lost children,
yes,
the first lost children that came to mind were the people that I have had judgment about, the people that are in positions of government authority and financial outrageous small agendas, and they were the small children. They were the lost children that got arrested at that level of their hurt and are acting now in the bodies of adults. But really, they are amongst the lost children, and so they were the ones calling for my heart breath.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And what happens as you send them non-judgment and heart breath?
Well, then
what happens with you? Let's start with you. What happens with you?
Well, my heart softens, and I see their soul gratefully kind of slurping up the heart breath, and that helps my heart to feel unified with their soul or with their heart, and so then to be more at peace within myself. And then I perceive their human embodiment feeling a little bit safer and moving, well, not just a little bit, feeling safer, and in that safety able to put down their armor of self-created, shut down and relaxed into the flow. And I thought it was interesting when you used the past tense of the verb to flow, you said flown. And so
that's unusual. Okay.
Well, it was lovely, really, because so they get to flow, and in that we all get to fly.
Wonderful, dear. Wonderful. I heard in the past day or so that Congress people need to raise $20,000 a day in order to be reelected. So you can see why they, how can I say, you can see why they're bought and sold. Okay, but it is, yes, I agree with what you're saying. Lost children. Thank you, dear. In that process, do you also feel accepted when their soul accepts your heart breath? Do you feel accepted?
Yes, that's a good point. Since my father was a congressman in that world, I wasn't exactly appreciated when I became mystical, and so that's a good reminder. Yes.
God bless you, dear. So now you see, it's all one circle.
Yes, indeed.
Bless you. Thank you. Now, who else can share?
Aloha.
Aloha, Paramdian.
First of all, thank you. Thanks to Baba Siri Chand and to everybody present for creating the energy. Very interesting always how appropriately timed and, how personal the message is. I've been accused before for giving too quickly. I tend to forgive others. I try the blame game. It doesn't work. But there's a couple elements that have been hard until today. And one of them is that I tend to put it on me. And it becomes self-attack and blame. Not because
and what do you blame yourself for?
Well, I was about to share that. I understand the big picture, but there has been a glitch in my way of thinking, which is confusion. I see confusion as the quote-unquote problem. Like life has all these messages, and there is a game that I'm playing wrong, that I'm not getting, because I do trust so much the universe that I know that if something is in front of me, it's for my highest good if I just allow it. And I've been wrecking my brain and my heart trying to, instead of understand it and just accept it, to get it, to know, to be beyond confusion in order to feel free. And I've been sticking myself in the mud for years. And in the last 24 hours, I've been just trying to accept the confusion and forgive myself for being in it the voices of my own head and other people in the past are very loud right now, and I know, I trust God, and I know that if they're loud right now, it's because they need to go, not because they're there to rule. Because each day seems to be in a different layer being released, and I've been not doing negative things to myself, but I'm not allowing enough of the positive in. It's almost like you can't get the things you desire until you understand exactly, you know exactly what's going on. And I've been playing. I made this game up in my head, I guess, when I was a child, and I've been playing it for half a century, and it's really gotten old. And so the self-forgiveness, the hard breath for the self, the just remember the neutrality with my own self is the desirable tool. I haven't had the freedom of heart to be able to blame others and get satisfaction. Whenever I've done that, it felt really nasty in myself to do that, and it only made me feel worse. So I just wanted to say
that you go into self-blame.
Absolutely, and I know. I mean, on black and white, on pure logic, I know this is another way of being a victim. But it was only during the heart breath that I understood. You're playing the victim by blaming yourself. There is no blame, and then this is something that I've known, that I've learned from everything I've been studying for decades. But it didn't grok. It didn't come to an experience understanding level. I felt like I had to understand something more. I don't know how to explain that. I just know that that it's time to make it a little easier on myself and to use the heart breath for myself.
Yes, because you deserve it.
Yes, and the difference between being unconditional and still having boundaries, like they say in program, not accepting unacceptable behavior, doesn't mean that you don't love the person. You just don't accept the behavior. And so this is all a work in progress. I want to thank you, and thank you and Baba and everybody for the work.
God bless you, dear. Okay, everybody, let's just take a few seconds here to send some heart breath to Padam Dhyan in a very timely transformation. Keep up the heart breath, and I'm going to say a few things. Sometimes, we've all done masterfully poopy things in past lifetimes, because that's just the way it works. And sometimes then in this life, and then after that, then we go through the victim stage, and then we finally head for the healing, okay? But when we head for the healing and forgiveness, oftentimes people have a very difficult time doing that, forgiving themselves and coming into neutrality, because sometimes people, down deep in their subconscious, they still feel that they deserve to be punished, to be the victim. Okay? But now, understanding that it is all part of the process, that it was all a setup, it's time for us to forgive not only now, not only our childhood, but whatever that deep, dark, dirty thing that we have done in the past can be let go of. Because who is the God? You are the God. And you may absolve. And that allows you to move on to your understanding, to your of consciousness, and to your free flow of light, which is being called for now. Okay. So if you want to read more about the karmic cycle, please go to soulanswer.com/karma, KARMA, .html. And you can learn a little more about how that works. Keep up your heart breath for Padam Dhyan. Padam Dhyan, does that seem to be true?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Good. Things have been showing up. And, yeah, it's right on time.
Good. And as you forgive it, then you open up to the wisdom and the healing and the ability to flow light through you.
Right.
Okay, and that's what we need, so this is all part of the process. And all of the actions in the past have been absolutely valuable in structuring you so that you can do this in a very particular, very certain way. God bless you, dear.
Bless you, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And we'll keep up our heart breath for you.
Okay.
Also, keep up your heart breath for Abba Kadam, our wonderful webmaster. Her dog, her puppy, is having some health problems today. So keep up your heart breath for them. Now, we just have a couple more minutes. Is there anybody who would like to share? Could share.
Siri Gian?
Yes. Who is this?
This is Guru Ravi.
Oh, sweetie, hi. I'm glad to hear you.
Hi, thank you. I had a question as we began the process of processing, I guess, those hateful, dark words and emotions that come to us from the outside. What would be a good way to help children with that?
Oh, you mean because, for instance, children are very unkind to each other sometimes?
Yes, and I had an experience last night with my granddaughter who is 8. And, you know, we've recently moved to the area, and in the beginning she had everyone that wanted to be her BFF, so to speak.
Yes, her
and now
best friend forever.
Things seem to be crashing down on her, and she's a very gentle soul and very kind and loving. And last night she had a meltdown.
Oh my goodness!
With some little girls, 8 years old, it's a tough time. And she had heard that one of her little friends that she felt like was her best friend told other people that they hated her. And she just kept saying, why would anyone hate me? Why would they hate me? And her face got more and more red, and she began really, I told her to just settle down and take long, deep breaths. She looked like she might get a nosebleed. She's getting so angry, and she goes, I'll give her a nosebleed. That's what I want to do is give her a nosebleed. And it was like totally out of character for her. So I began heart breath, and I was leaving. She was on the way out with her mom. And last night I sat in meditation, like, what would be a good way to help her? She knows heart breath. She knows a lot of, like I said, she's a very calm and centered child, but this is like really caught her off guard.
It's rocking her foundation.
Yes.
Okay, and so what you're doing is you are training her for life, her life on how to handle this. Okay, what you do, this is what Baba Siri Chand says, because she is a wise child and she can understand it. You tell her that her friend feels hated, and so this is her way of solving it. Her friend can't think it out that way, but this is, but that's the problem. You understand? Okay. It doesn't mean that your granddaughter is hateful. Quite the contrary. Perhaps her friend feels that she could never live up to your grandchild. That's the reason why perhaps she is jealous and is trying to pull down the opinion of the group against your granddaughter. Mm-hmm. But to hate her back is not going to solve the problem. Okay. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Do you think it would work?
Yes. Yes.
Because in fact it is a self-projection. That's what goes on. If the former friend may want to be loved as much as she sees your granddaughter as being loved. Mm. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Did you read yesterday's newsletter about fascism?
I did, and that's what made me start thinking of it.
Yeah.
So,
this is
perfect.
Certainly an example of it.
Right.
Okay. So you got it. So let us know if you can on the Facebook group, Soul Answer Facebook group, what happened.
Okay, thank you. I'll be spending more time with her this weekend. We're going on a trip together, so it's perfect.
Okay, good.
Can we send heart breath to this 8-year-old? Can we send heart breath to her right now?
Let's do that. And also, by the way, your granddaughter, we're not asking your granddaughter not to stand up for herself. Mm-hmm. When she feels it's right, whatever she feels is right to do and to create those boundaries, please do them, but with pure neutrality. In other words, if I do this, I expect this to happen. You can't have any expectations in that regard of the outcome. But the whole thing is about her own heart and her own knowing of who she is, and not depending upon other people's opinions of her, because she knows who she is, despite what other people say or do.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do some heart breath for this other injured child, or both of them, really. God bless. And keeping this in mind for each one, because I suspect that all of us have had that experience. And that's what keeps us separate. That's what keeps us judging ourselves and insecure. Exactly this. So thank you so much, Guru Ravi.
Thank you.
Okay, so keeping everyone, all of our wounded selves in mind so that we may relax and be in full knowledge of who we truly are. Let's sing this beautiful song to one another. And for the new people, the words are, may the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Inhale. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all around you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Inhale. And bow to your most cozy infinite. And let yourself love yourself. Sat Nam. Talk to you this week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Sat Nam.